Well, the deal to raise the U.S. debt ceiling and avoid a potentially catastrophic default will face a major test tomorrow. The House Rules Committee will meet to consider the agreement that was reached by President Joe Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy over the weekend. It would cut government spending and suspend America's debt limit through January 1st, 2025. While some Republicans on the committee have been critical of the deal and may vote against it. America could run out of money to pay its bills as soon as June 5th if action isn't taken. And for more on this, we are joined live by Angelo Molino, professor of economics at the University of Toronto. Thank you so much for joining us on this. Obviously, this is now going to lead to a congressional vote to suspend the U.S. debt ceiling. Let's talk about the magnitude of the implications if this vote doesn't pass. What kind of havoc could be wreaked on the U.S. economy?
Well, it'll take a while. The first thing that will happen, of course, is that the Treasury is going to have to decide which creditors to pay. It's unlikely to default on its debt as a first pass. It may decide not to pay doctors and hospitals for Medicare. It may decide to shut down various government services in order to save cash flow. But the longer that it takes to pass this bill, the more likely it will be that we'll have to do some extreme things like not mail out Social Security checks, and at some point not pay interest on its debt and therefore default.
Well, we know that President Biden, going into these negotiations, he didn't even really want to negotiate the debt ceiling, but he did end up making some compromises. What are some of the considerations in store for raising the debt ceiling?
Well, I mean, the U.S. is very strange in having this double negotiation. So if they first negotiate over taxes and spending, like all governments do, but then they decide when the taxes don't cover the spending, whether or not they can borrow to pay for the deficit. So these are decisions that reflect things that have been done in the past. And it's very unusual for a government not to honor the decisions of the past. So what they want to do is change the path of future spending in the United States. And they can do it in two ways. They can argue over how much to tax and how much to spend in the regular budget process, or they can take what I think of as the nuclear option, which is to say, well, we know we're going to run up debt, but we're not going to allow you to pay those debts, and we're going to force you to do some very, very increasingly uncomfortable things, including potentially a default. So, I think what they're trying to decide now is which of the various components of government spending will be affected by this agreement in the future.
How could this impact the markets and also even here in Canada, the Canadian economy?
Well, the U.S. is closed today for Memorial Day, so we're not getting an early indication of how the markets will be affected. But I think so far the markets are being cautiously optimistic. They expect something will come out of this, and I'm sure that they hope that there won't be too much disruption before the bill is finally passed. And it's not over till it's over. As you said, there's issues tomorrow. They're going to have to get, parts of both parties to agree to this agreement. Lots of ways for this thing to fail yet.
Yeah, this is where politics goes into play. And obviously, McCarthy is going to have the support of his fellow Republicans who've really been, putting up a big fight over the last couple of months about this particular issue.
Well, we expect some Democrats will also sign in on this bill as well. But it's not clear how the coalition will be formed. That's true. And there are people on both sides of the House who are going to be upset with whatever deal is proposed.
Angelo Molino, professor of economics at the University of Toronto, we appreciate your time. Thank you.